You know me?
I do. You're not the only one cursed with knowledge.
Yeah. But guys, a question I would like to ask that what
Mhm.
is this obsession about Robert De Niro? Uh, he's in the cast of almost every most of the movies of Scorsese. Why he always
Mhm.
casts Robert De Niro? Any explanation for that?
Two explanations for
Actually,
it. One of them is very simple. You just vibe with someone so much that they just know what you're gonna see next. It's like
Hmm.
Robert De Niro doesn't need direction when he's around Scorsese, and Scorsese doesn't need to direct Robert De Niro. I
yeah.
mean, they just hit it off since Main Street, and ever since
Yeah.
Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas,
Yeah.
King of comedy.
King of Comedy, they have
Yeah.
been together for so long that now I think there is a rumor about a movie coming soon. I think it's
Yeah.
called Killers of the Flower Moon,
Yeah.
and
It
even in the
has Leo
Leo and De Niro.
and Robert De Niro.
Yeah. Also, it's it's you can say that about Leo as well. But even in The Irishman, I don't really think
Hmm.
that they needed to direct anyone. You know, now Pacino hasn't
Hmm.
worked with Scorsese a lot. In fact, I guess only
But
two movies or so. One of them is The Irishman. One of them was a very indie low budget movie. I don't remember the name of it. But then he hasn't worked with Scorsese a lot, and the reason
Joe
for
Pesci and Robert De Niro.
yeah, because there's a quote by Ian McKellen said on the Graham Norton show, and he says
Hmm.
you can go as far as your entire life without working with the people you admire.
Mhm.
So I mean, Pacino and De Niro are the same age. They have the
Yeah.
same characteristics when it comes to acting. They have all been
Yeah.
theater thespians. They have
Yeah.
both of them have acted in various movies. But
Hmm.
the first movie they did together was Heat, which was in
Yeah.
1996.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
A
just
big
like
action movie.
yeah, but then you could literally cast Pacino as any De Niro character.
Mhm.
If you see, you could be like Martin Scorsese could have casted Pacino for all the films De Niro won an Oscar for,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and it would have been the same. But the reason he chose he chose De Niro over Pacino is like debatable on its own, and that is a complete
Yeah.
discussion on its own. But then this thing that the second point that I wanted to say is that Scorsese knows how De Niro works. De Niro is a method actor, and Scorsese just hits it off with method actors a little different. He's worked with Leo, and we know how good of a method actor Leo is.
Yeah. And
Um,
Daniel Day-Lewis too.
yeah,
Really good.
absolutely. So it's like you know, maybe I just have this theory. Maybe whatever
Mhm.
Scorsese accepted as a
Hmm.
as a story for his upcoming film, the
Mhm.
protagonist or the main character, even the antagonist for that matter, it fit
Hmm.
De Niro's description so good that it was no other choice. Like, अरे ये बंदा तो De Niro ही कर सकता है.
Ha, ha.
Hmm.
Maybe that, I guess. I mean, that's just a theory.
Or if he's in a joking way, De Niro is the perfect Italian American to play any mafian guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, that could be it. That could be it.
yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, most in Departed also we had Jack
Nicholson.
instead of Jack Nicholson. Instead of Jack Nicholson, if it would be De Niro, it would.
It could be
De
De
Niro
Niro.
would
It could be
yeah.
Pacino. In fact,
Yeah.
Pacino was approached for that
Yeah.
role. It was supposed to be Scorsese's first ever role with Pacino, but then he turned it down for, I guess, another movie, which got shelved. I guess, I don't really know. But then Nicholson, see, I like to believe that there are 4 or 5 actors who can pull off a larger than life persona on screen without hesitation. One of them is De Niro, Pacino, Nicholson, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah, and Leonardo.
Yeah, absolutely. Leonardo is more like a kind of like a middle-aged actor. I'm talking about these actors who started from the 70s
Yeah,
or
okay,
maybe
okay.
the 60s.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
we can add Samuel L. Jackson also some.
Yeah.
If he,
Absolutely.
yeah, and Morgan Freeman due to his amazing
Yeah,
voice.
yeah.
I mean, if he narrates anything, yeah.
Absolutely.
Just- yeah.
So I have a question.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure.
What do you think was the entire premise of Shutter Island?
Premises of?
Shutter
So,
Island.
You know,
I mean,
do
for
you think
first
that
while
the,
watching or after knowing the end?
after knowing the end, just I want to ask, the purpose of my question is, do you think that Leonardo's character is actually mad?
I think he's first
He
of all,
was
he's one
mad.
of the war hero. I mean, after war, we can say, I mean, it is portrayed mostly that one who has gone after a war, he just gets some nightmares, and due to some nightmares, he got his own.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that was the main problem. He got a little mad. And,
Okay.
Yeah, and killed his wife, and
Yeah.
or his
Okay, but
or his wife killed his children.
yeah, his wife killed his kids, and that is why he killed his wife. But
Hmm.
do you really think that is the story that is true?
I mean, it could be because he went at such a level that they have never seen a such type of a character who has gone out of his own, who is not believing in the main present or
Right.
making his own
right.
ideology.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Scorsese
So-
is known for his details, right? So
Yeah.
if you would have observed, whenever Leonardo lights up a cigarette, it is written by
Someone else.
who is this guy?
Someone another. Yeah.
Mark Ruffalo's character.
Mark Ruffalo. Yeah, Mark Ruffalo's
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
there's in the scene when we talks
Yeah.
with that lady, the
Right.
cleaning lady.
Right, right.
He gives a glass of water, but she has nothing in her hand. She just enacts of drinking the water.
Absolutely.
And the guard also behind the Leo. He's just behind when Leo is seen, but when
Right.
Leo and both Mark is there is no guard behind them,
Yeah.
or vice versa. I think so.
Right. No. You're correct. You're absolutely correct. But,
Mhm.
okay. So, both of y'all's opinions are that whatever was shown in the movie, I mean, whatever is shown to us is the actual truth, isn't it? So, like, he is actually, okay, this is a spoiler. So, please, anyone who's seen or not seen the movie, please go see it. It's
Yeah.
a really nice movie. Okay,
It's very
so
old
maybe
movie, so
he
you may
is actually Andrew Laidus, right? He is
Yeah.
not Edward Daniels. He is actually Andrew Laidus, and he killed his wife.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a theory that completely contradicts this.
Okay.
Okay. So, Himanshu just mentioned that Scorsese is known for his details, right?
Yeah.
That exact details can fool us. Hear me out. Okay, go with me here for a second.
Okay.
Maybe he is Edward Daniels. Maybe Leo's character is Edward Daniels. And maybe he actually does have a kind of a fear of fire. That is why he cannot handle lighters. And that is actually shown in the movie. He cannot handle those
Yeah,
lighters
yeah.
because he has a fear of fire. So,
Yeah.
up until this point, we, so like 10 or 15 minutes into the movie, we know a simple premise. 2 US Marshals are sent onto an island in an investigation for a missing person called Rachel Solando, right?
Yeah.
Maybe that is the entire premise. Maybe Rachel Solando is missing, okay? And Edward Daniels and Chuck All, both of them actually go there to find Rachel Solando. But have you noticed one thing? Up until up until the scene wherein both of the marshals get drenched and they go into a small house.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah. Mhm.
nothing happens.
Rome comes in. Yeah.
Nothing happens. Literally nothing happens. I mean, it's just a normal movie. It's just a normal movie about a person who's missing and two people are solving the case.
Mhm.
But after that, all of the things start turning over their head. Chuck disappears.
Yeah.
Andrew stripped off his clothes, and he's given the actual
White
clothes of the
color.
prisoners. Yeah.
Yeah. Of the prison.
Then he finds the person who, whatever, he lights a match and he's naked in the cell C.
Mhm.
Then he does all this, and then he's revealed to be Andrew Davis. Up until that point, there is not even a mention of who's Andrew Davis. It's just memories. We actually even see Andrew Davis. A rendition of Leo's. Yeah.
Yeah.
My theory is, after that point, Leo is forced into believing that he's Andrew Davis.
Okay.
They
Because
say
Chuck
that-
disappears.
Mhm.
Where does he go? He goes to the doctors to tell them that this guy is onto you. Because in the shed, in the small house, he tells Chuck that I'm gonna expose every dirty secret that Shutter Island has ever held. What is the logical thing to do? Kill the US Marshal, which would be detrimental because you don't want a federal case on you, or else prove that he's mad. Which one is easier in a mental penitentiary?
And they put out that there's something in the cigarettes too.
Yeah.
Something.
Most importantly, when he gets those war flashbacks,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Auschwitz was completely dry. It didn't even have a speck of snow in it.
Mhm.
Maybe he is lobotomized. Maybe he's forced into believing that he killed his wife. Maybe he's forced into believing that he is a war veteran. Maybe he's forced into believing that whatever's happening with him is actually a part of a mental procedure. He isn't Andrew Ladis actually. He is Edward Daniels, but he's forced into believing that he's Andrew Ladis.
Yeah.
Why? Because people wanted to keep the bad things that happen at Shutter Island completely aloof from the world.
Yeah. They say
Because-
that anagram. Yeah, that anagram of Edward.
It's just a
Daniels-
coincidence. Maybe.
Yeah. No. We can say that they say that he made up the Andrew ladies from
Right.
Edward Daniels, but it can be ulta also, na?
Yeah. They made
From
Andrew
ladies,
Ladis.
they made.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
My
really-
theory is. Yeah. Please go on.
Yeah, so I was saying that कि वो ऐसा उसको बनाते कि नहीं तूने खुद वो एंड्रू लेडीज बना है, but it
Yeah.
can be opposite also ना, वो खुद उन्होंने उसका एनाग्राम बना के एडवर्ड
Exactly.
डैनियल्स बनाया. So yeah.
See, Edward Daniels is his real persona. He is Edward Daniels.
Mhm.
How long does it take for a psychologist to figure out what is an anagram to Edward Daniels?
Yeah.
Literally 2 days, 3 days maybe.
Mhm.
The film, I guess, takes place over 10 or 15 days, right? I mean, we see a lot of day changes in that.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's really easy for them to come up with Andrew Davis. It's also easy for them to come up with Dolores Chanel and Rachel Solando. It's also very easy for them to come up with Dr. Sheen, who is actually absent. Now,
Mhm.
my entire thing is that Dr. Sheen is not actually absent, he's killed. And Chuck is an imposter, Among Us reference. Chuck is actually an imposter who is pretending to be Dr. Sheen just so he could keep a watch on Edward. Now, Edward is not mad, but he does have some PTSD, like you mentioned, about his wife leaving him and about a guy named Andrew Ladis killing his wife. Maybe he was on to this case a long time. I know this is a very big stretch here, and
Yeah,
probably it really doesn't make sense, but then This is my theory.
Yeah,
See,
yeah, it's good to
maybe
hear theory.
Andrew Ladis was just the made up name of a person who actually killed his wife. You know,
Hmm.
in a fire. He's an arsonist, right? Andrew Ladis was an arsonist.
Hmm.
So, my entire theory is Scorsese fooled us with the details that we saw in a wrong way. It was actually meant to go in that way. But the storm happened, they went into that shed, and Edward literally just told Chuck, this is what I'm supposed to be here for. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna expose this thing for its bad
Yeah,
practices.
Split Island.
And that is when all the things happen. Please go see the movie again with this perspective so that you will understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Sure.
to be honest, when we start to watch for first time, we are watching through this reference only, the way you're saying.
Right.
But at the end, the twist, at that time our perception changes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean,
I mean, now you can just imagine a person who's forced into believing that he's mad. That is the entire premise of the movie for you now.
yeah,
Hmm.
Go ahead and watch that.
we can say he was manipulated in the best.
Absolutely.
I mean, that was the Scorsese is one of the films that had just a supernatural. Not we cannot say supernatural, but it was kind of different than most of his movies. Like some of our dark comedies, some of mostly are mafian movies, and some are
Yeah.
like. But this was very a different movie. I mean,
Yep.
this was unexpected from Scorsese to go in.
Right.
Yeah, kind of a supernatural way we can say. Kind of a supernatural.
This
not
is
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
stay evergreen now. This movie.
Yeah. I mean,
That was really indeed awesome. Really an awesome breakdown by Som about Shutter Island.
Even for Goodfellas, if you see, the reason why I love Goodfellas so much is that, yeah, obviously, Godfather Part 1 and Part 2 are my favorite movies by a stretch. Nothing comes second. And the thing that comes second is Shawshank, which is, these three are my favorite movies. But then,
I'm on.
yeah, even if you have watched those movies, not Shawshank, I'm talking about Godfather 1 and 2, they glorify the mafia lifestyle. And that is because in the 1970s, mafia was still at the height of their power in America.
Yes.
In fact, the entire funding of the movie was done by the mafia. And the reason why it actually succeeded in pulling together such a, I mean, obviously it is a great movie and it just completely blows everyone else out the water for various reasons. I mean, the cinematography, the music, the subtlety, everything. But then it was a glorification of the lifestyle. Goodfellas actually showed us what mafia life is without showing us the good side of it. But, you know, it's not the first film to do that. And I would like to recommend this film. If you haven't watched it, please go and watch it. It's Once Upon a Time in America by Sergio Leone.
Okay.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in America by Sergio Leone. This film actually put it has De Niro in it. And then
of course, because Leone is the Italian director who brought the spaghetti westerns.
Yeah. Sergio Leone is actually the father of spaghetti westerns in America. He did a lot of them. I mean, all the a fistful of dollars for a few dollars more, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. A lot of them.
Yeah.
Sergio Leone has directed them, and this actually, I think it was one of the last mainstream and hit films of Sergio Leone because it showed the mafia in such a bad way that people forgot that The Godfather existed. It left a sour taste in the mouth, and it was kind of ironic because Sergio Leone is supposed to be romanticizing a part of America which is supposed to be hated. Spaghetti westerns. I mean, westerns were a part of outlaws and stuff like that. People hated those. But he completely de-romanticized the mafia lifestyle after Once Upon a Time in America, and people really began to think, is this the kind of life that we aspire to live? And I think Goodfellas is a perfect little way to be a mild in between the both. You know, it was the Godfather was a romanticization. Once Upon a Time in America was a de-romanticization. So what could be in the middle? Goodfellas could be in the middle. You know,
We can
we
say
see
a proper trilogy.
a proper
Self-made trilogy.
dude. You just yeah, perfectly sums it up. A proper trilogy for a romanticization, a de-romanticization, and a milder, more simplistic post-romanticization perspective on it. You know,
As you said,
and
Yeah.
as you
yeah,
said, substantial.
yep,
Father,
absolutely.
Scorsese is the father of substance. That's it. You just
That's
proved
it.
your words.
Exactly. I mean, you can see both the films have had an influence on Goodfellas, and Scorsese took that influence. You know, he took Jimmy Conway, he took the Tony. What's his name? Tony, whatever his Tommy DeVito. Sorry, Tommy DeVito, and he put those in a light wherein we usually see them. We see them as gangsters. We see them at the top of the world with money and women, drugs, and stuff like that. But he put a much needed spin on it, like excess, which was supposed to be taken from Once Upon a Time in America. He took excess from that and the glorification from that and combined it into a very, very nice film. So I think Scorsese deserves all the credit for Goodfellas. Totally. Now moving on to one of his most underrated films. I feel like it is one of his most underrated films.
Mhm.
You might have watched it. It's The Irishman. And
Oh yes.
yeah,
Those
3 hours 29 minutes.
were
Who would watch that big of a movie? But then
I mean,
it was
that
never
the best
boring
part
for
of
me.
quarantine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best time of quarantine. Those
Yeah,
3 hours,
absolutely.
I mean, the story. I mean, the way he has said from starting of Robert De Niro's character until
Right.
his last moments.
Yep.
I mean, the whole America. He has just shown how America developed. With
Yeah.
from mafia and all to everything. It was just the
Exactly.
developing of America. But
Yeah, I know.
through eyes of
And
through many eyes. Yeah, Shumi.
the best part is that it never feels like a romanticization of Jimmy Hoffa's lifestyle.
No.
It never feels like Jimmy Hoffa is glorified or Frank Sheeran is glorified or Russell Buffalino's lifestyle is glorified. It just feels like this is what happened. At least through the eyes of Frank Sheeran. I mean, no one knows what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. Truly.
Yeah.
But
They
Sheeran just
disappear,
came
yeah.
forward and said, I killed him. I just find a lot of, like I mentioned, details in Scorsese movies. But then, have you ever felt like those details are put there for purposeful uses?
Yeah, sometimes they act like a Easter eggs, but sometimes they are sometimes. But yeah, there is a reason because Scorsese will not do anything without reason.
Absolutely. And that is why I've come back to Shutter Island.
Yeah, they add up to the realism of the movie.
Absolutely. And that is why I come back to Shutter Island. It's because those details were put there for us to notice that there is a dual narrative going on. There is one narrative which is explored by all YouTubers and all the articles, which is that it is actually, it is Andrew Davis who Leo's playing, Leo's actually Andrew Davis. And this is my narrative, which not a lot of people have explored. I haven't seen a lot of posts about it.